Ready to go!
Given that your objective within the sport is to become quite technically proficient to the point where you can teach arm wrestling, I think that's awesome. What I think is the first thing you need to comprehend, and I think you'll appreciate this coming from the background of taekwondo, is understand that this is very much a combat sport as much as it is a strength sport.
Yeah, right.
You can look at it both ways. Strength amplifies your technique, but also technique amplifies your strength. Some people place more priority on one or the other. My personal journey in the sport was my first 3 years. Technique was the most important thing. I was beating people that were a lot stronger than me because we were all essentially coming up in the sport. We were all still learning, so I was ahead of the curve compared to my opponents in terms of technical awareness, and it gave me a great advantage. Right. But as you get closer to the top, you will start to feel the need to just be strong. But if you're the mistake that a lot of people make is they don't spend enough time investing in the technical understanding of the sport, and when they do that, they then go and get strong on very broad movements, and they miss the finer movements that matter most. So you want to understand all of the movements required before you go and dedicate yourself to just getting purely strong. If someone only has the comprehension of broad brush strokes, someone with finer strokes and awareness of that can work around them. And when you work around someone, if you are ahead of someone in terms of leading the positions of the table,
yep,
you have a leverage advantage every day of the week. Now, when you get to the top of the tree, and I currently feel like relative to 99% of my opponents that I'm there with them technically. I grouped up with Devin, I grouped up with Giannis, and we played that game, and I could feel everything, and I never felt like I was losing any technique. And when you get to that point, then I feel like it's time to really just focus on getting strong. But you've always got to stay in touch because someone can always be better than you. At the end of the day, arm wrestling, the combat side of it is about creating traps, dead spaces, counterattack opportunities. Because most people, when they first begin the sport, they're just laser focused on pinning their opponent. It's just all blinkers on, just go. And like that's just, it's just not. There is a small opportunity for that style of arm wrestling, like a Jerry Carteret, just bury in, kind of go for it. But any back pressure based arm wrestling, it's probably not going to happen, because at the end of the day, arm wrestling, it's about taking on somebody who's pretty much the same power level as you and still winning. Because yes, being stronger will get it, but inevitably you're going to face someone that you're not stronger than, and he's not necessarily that much stronger than you, yet someone's still going to win. So you want to be that guy who can go everywhere on the table and be aware. So the combat side, the strength side. The strength side we break down into 4 foundations. And this is what I would encourage anyone who is in their first 12 months to focus on in the strength sense when you're in the gym is back pressure. So basically the elbow joint, closing the elbow joint, keeping your hand as close to your shoulder at any one time. You'll see Travis Bagent loves to stare down his knuckles, like his face is right there in his knuckles. He's got tremendous back pressure. A lot of people can win simply by having superior back pressure than your opponent. It's probably, like I personally feel it's the most valuable of the foundations because it wins the setup. If you have dominant back pressure, your opponent's chasing. As soon as you've got someone chasing you, you're dictating terms. The next most important one, in my opinion, is just the ability to bend your wrist. Carping. John Brzezink's favorite. He said it's the only thing he trained in the gym. Carping. So I've heard Devin Larratt also say that 99% of matches, the man with the stronger cup wins. Okay, and having a stronger cup, and as long as you've got a basic awareness of the combat side of things, means that you can drag someone over. Now, you know how I mentioned biceps before? Yeah. Well, lats are always stronger than biceps. Yeah. So if someone's lifting on their bicep, the other person can be dragging with their lat. Only if their hand can handle what their lats can do. Right. So a lot of people, let's give up for a second. A lot of people who, if their hand's not strong enough, they'll you go on biceps for me? a lot of people will go to use their lats and their hand will peel open. See how my hand just peeled open?
Right.
Because my hand couldn't keep up with my lats. If that was go again on bicep. If my hand can keep up, I can open you up with my lats. Okay, so lats are always stronger than biceps, but they're dependent on that weak link of the hand. So that's why cupping is an incredibly important foundation. The other foundation, next important, side pressure. It's one of those things that, again, I wouldn't worry so much about when you're very first beginning, simply because it's going to cause you a lot of pain. Side pressure is the one that it's going to take the longest to get conditioned to. 6 months to 2 years before you're really able to like red line comfortably without causing acute flare for the next few days.
Yeah.
For me, it was like 1.5 years. I've seen some people never have it, but they're anomalies when that happens. So normally, side pressure, look, early days just rely on hand control, back pressure, and down pressure.
Yep.
Okay. Down pressure is just the ability to close from elbow to ribs without losing pronation.
Right.
So this one here, pronation, and it's a lat movement. There's a little bit, the biceps are going to still be activated, but the ability to drag your elbow closer without your palm going underneath.
Right.
So pronation and lats for that one. So the weak link for that one, pronation. Like we were saying before, the weak link can be cup. Pronation is incredibly important. So when you go to the gym outside of your time on the table, that's what you want to train. Cupping, biceps, pronation, and down pressure. So you can do down pressure with heaves, static holds with a cable, cupping with anything that's a rolling handle, pronation with just, you've got karate belts, karate belt over the thumb, on the cable machine, something like that.
That's cool.
Now, where I think you need to spend most of your time is, as I said, in becoming aware on the table. Now, the way to become aware on the table is to grip up in such a way that allows you the time and opportunity to read what's going on. I describe it as downloading someone's data. When I grip up with someone, I'm just straight away plugged in and you're reading them. You want to get better and better at reading people. Now, where it becomes near impossible to read people is when you're at max effort. If you're redlining, you have very little opportunity to read, very little opportunity to make micro adjustments. So when we ramp it down, we get all of a sudden a world of opportunity opens up and you can feel different things. And I actually think subconsciously, your brain connected to your arm and hand will learn faster than you can consciously even keep up with. You're just going to feel things. Okay, so the way that we do that when we grip up, now this works really well in the straps, but we'll do it out of the straps at first, is take a deep grip. Okay, we want to take a fully cupped grip. Now we're just going to turn some down pressure on with our lats. And yep, that's good. So that right now we're not redlining, but we're feeling things. Okay, so from here, without adding side pressure, so no raw side pressure, we just move around and try to put lactic acid on my bicep. Now, whilst we're doing this, we're going to do this for 3 to 5 minutes before we have a break. Okay. Now, during this 3 to 5 minutes, lactic acid is going to start to build up. Now, the key to being the person who is technically winning is you're bleeding your opponent's bicep more than your own. I think of the bicep as like a nitrous oxide button. Okay, that's the finish. You only press that button when the opportunity is there and you're certain you can really get the finish. So often that might be right off the go, you'll just test, but as soon as you recognize you can't pin, you need to find the ability to conserve and refuel your bicep. Because I think you only have like 5-6 seconds of genuine max effort in the bicep.
Right.
Like, because this is an isometric contraction. You're against another essentially immovable object, and you're trying to just pull through it. So the bicep, so you want to work out how to get on my bicep. Now this is where we come into what I've heard Devin Larratt describe as creation and destruction. Everything you do on a table with your hand can be categorized into either creation or destruction. Destruction being finishing pressure. I'm on your bicep. right now.
Yeah, I can feel that.
Creation being, I'm off your bicep, but I'm making a leverage opportunity for me to return to destruction.
Yeah, right.
Okay? So creation and destruction.
Yeah.
So you want to play between those two. At this pressure, play, create, and just at the moment, go searching. So feel that you've got so many different options, things you can change. Outside of elbow, inside of elbow, back of elbow, front of elbow. They're just elbow things. And then all those combinations around the pad. Leaning forward with your shoulder, leaning back with your body, rising with your wrist, cupping with your hand, pronating, supinating. There are no limit to the amount of variations and combinations of all these variations that you can apply. At this pressure, go searching. So where is the lactic acid for you right now?
Right in the middle,
okay.
On the peak.
And that's because I've been keeping slightly more down pressure on you than you've been keeping on me. So you're in more of a creation / defensive posture in your hand. The pressure's, you're more lifting up than you are going down. And I'm more going down. You can feel like the contact point of our pressure is just here. That means that my hand is imparting down pressure on yours and you're responding to my pressure.
Yep.
The name of this game and the way that you'll learn best is to try not to sit in the same spot for too long. Like sometimes you might sit there, but if you feel your lactic acid building, and what you want to search for is you want to be able to have a sense of whether your opponent's lactic acid is building up faster than yours is.
Right.
So if you feel you're winning that battle, cool, sit still. And then watch your opponent and see if they start to squirm. And if they are, cool, play the game of keep them on it. That's the real joy about this one. It's a fun game to play, is when you can see your opponent starting to gas, you do not let them get off that. And now that is where you truly get value. So, like for me, I'm starting to gas in the bottom of my hand. Because I'm chopping down and I'm kicking.
And it's putting this on.
And for me to rest, I could come up like this. Now I've totally changed.
And it puts more on. Yeah.
I've totally changed.
This part.
So now my hand is resting. I'm using my back pressure and some pronation. That's it. So move around. Go hunting. And as I was saying, this is the time at this light pressure for you to be able to move. Because if we were trying to pin each other now, you wouldn't have these opportunities to do regrips and positional changes. So you want to work out how to get the lactic acid away from that. There we go. Nice. You've changed pressure totally. Now look, I'm lifting. You've just made.
I can see that. Actually.
You just made me lift. I can now feel the lactic acid already starting to accumulate in the base of my bicep there.
Okay. That's good.
And so this pressure is where you're going to ultimately develop table IQ. Now, let's have a break. When it comes to arm wrestling like that, with someone who, like myself, who's willing to do that with you, that's all well and good. But a lot of people will say, but yeah, like, how do I can't arm wrestle like that when I go to the club, or when I arm wrestle with other guys that just want to pin me.
Yeah. Well,
the answer is you in fact can. No one can force you to use side pressure. You watch the way Devin Larratt trains. Now, Devin Larratt is obviously strong enough that he can hold almost everyone on the planet without side pressure. You'll see he kind of sits down in the chair, he points his forearm where his opponent's going, and he uses simply back pressure or down pressure, my apologies.
Yep.
Bit of back pressure at times, but mostly hand. And so he's using superior table IQ and a strong hand to just stop people and lead people around. So when you are training, I would encourage you to spend a lot of time. I don't even want you adding side pressure because it's going to cause injury at this stage. Yep. Let's say I'm just a bully and I'm just trying to pin people.
Yeah.
I want you to turn and face where I'm going.
Right.
And practice finding a better hand position. I'll just do the same thing over and over again. There you go. That's nice. So straight away you're finding a good position to stop my basic angle that I'm doing there. Okay, now experiment around. Like, even if the guy's able to pin you, still let him pin you. It's okay. Yep. Just I want your arm to be like a trailer. Your elbow is the pivot. Wherever they go, left and right, wherever they go, you go with them. Wherever they go up and down, you go with them. All I want you to do is have through the rear of your shoulder, a bit of lats, a little bit of bicep, just some collective back pressure,
Yep.
Most of your effort can be in your hand. You can red line in your hand.
Yep.
Just no side pressure. Cool. And so what will happen is people are going to adjust. So I went straight side then.
Yep.
So then if I go like this, you're going to have to realize there's different things. Good. Looking in, looking out. Nice. So the point I'm trying to make here is, even if someone isn't playing the game with you, even if they're just pinning you, you can always still choose to arm wrestle like this. Now,
It's good.
and now eventually, when someone's pinning you, you're going to start to feel, ooh, I almost stopped you then with just my hand.
I see that all the time with these big guys, like they hit you, put on daddy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, if you have superior, simply cupping through your fingers, just tabletop cupping, you can entirely stop someone.
Right.
Like, so you go to pin me. So once I find contact on those fingers there, so I'm using dragging pressure through my entire body, just with enough strength there,
Feel that
I
difference.
can not be pinned. Purely, the only thing I'm doing, like, I'm not lifting my bicep, or doing anything other than having a secure that.
I can feel that, yeah.
And I'm using the space on the pad. I'm retreated right over to this corner here.
Yep.
So for you to pin me, you've got to, if you can't get through those fingers,
They're strong.
there's nothing else that can be done. So just with superior, that emphasizes the value of superior hand control.
At this point.
Yeah, well, that was actually these fingers right here. So the ability for you to maintain your fingers and not have them peeled back is tremendously important. But
that was one thing Justin emphasised.
yeah, Justin. Justin trained them with plate curls. He would often hold a 20 kilo plate and sit there and do that. So anyway, guys, I might wrap this lesson up just here, but this is essentially the foundation of where you want to go when you're starting the sport. Don't fall into the trap, to reiterate, don't fall into the trap of thinking that you just need to go and get strong. Because if you go and get really strong now, before you've really learned how to arm wrestle, you'll be good, but you'll never be brilliant. You'll never be truly elite. Unless you're going to go to Richard Lupke's strength standards, and then you can, he's the best example of broad brushed, but still just so strong that it didn't matter. But at the end of the day, the fastest route to the top is to have that combination of both the combative awareness and the strength.
Yeah, very good.
Good stuff.
Cheers.